This
Giannis.
conference will now be recorded.
All right,
Awesome.
Theresa, it's all yours. Thank you for doing this.
Thank you. Thanks for inviting me, Giannis. It's great to be here. It's nice to see a few familiar people there, including Stebo, who indeed I was doing some work with last year. So wonderful to also just connect again with so many Nordic people, because I, of course, haven't been up to the fair north for quite a while. So I'm based in London. And I specialize in digital asset management, and I'm happy to speak a bit about DAM today. I just decided to call it, do you know where your photos are? Because that's really the question that I am usually asking, my clients and organizations. Do you know where your photos are? Do you know where your media is? So I'm just going to share some insights on the last several sort of really that I've learned in the last 10 or 12 projects that I've been working on, and just in terms of what are people trying to do better in 2021. So, but just a little bit about, as Giannis mentioned, I'm focused on digital asset management. I do strategy, product selection, data orchestration is another thing that I focus on, just making sure everybody's data is aligned, and general digital stewardship. I wrote a book on DAM about 4 years ago, all about marketing assets and how to better manage marketing assets. This is a sampling of my clients from the last 3 years, a couple of Nordic ones here, including Arla and IKEA, are probably the two that are the most obvious to you. And I also teach at King's College London in their master's program. They actually have a master's program in digital asset management, one of 2 universities in the world. So one of the things that I think is really a big problem in companies today is that we spend a lot of time looking for things and not reusing things. And this costs a lot of time and a lot of money. One of my large UK clients, manufacturer, I did a survey in their organization, and the marketing team spent at least 1 day a week, so an average of about 20% of their time, trying to track down imagery for their marketing campaigns. So they were emailing people, they were looking on different drives, they were looking in their desk even for the original of the photograph that was taken, or they were contacting the photographer that they know did the photo shoot. And so a lot of time wasted, looking specifically for images. And when, of course, you don't reuse or repurpose something, more money gets spent on recreation. So one study that I did for another company here in London, they calculated that just one of their brands, this is a large multi-brand company, just one of their brands spent over £300,000 recreating things that they already had. So it's really important to be able to find images and be able to reuse them, especially as marketing is so intense and so fast today. That imperative to find things is huge. So if you're not familiar with DAM, I think most of you know what DAM is, but this is my standard definition of DAM, the management of digital media throughout its lifetime. So I used to focus on text content, but these days, and really for the last 15 years, I've been focused on photos, videos, audio, etc. And it's really about being able to find and intelligently use images of things and not just necessarily text. Now, I think the important thing as we move into the future, it's not just being able to find images, it's about making them much smarter. And so DAM systems are not particularly smart. I often call them the dumb technology in the stack. They really are just storing things, and they hold metadata around things, and they'll put images and media through a workflow. But they are not the intelligent layer. They're not what's doing the personalization of our marketing. They're not what's doing the targeted marketing. That tends to be the downstream technologies, much more than DAM. But DAM is what provides the fuel so that the intelligent technologies can work better and can be smarter. So we need to make sure that we get all of our digital assets and all of our media into one place so that the DAM can take it through a workflow, take it through a process, and make sure that it has the right metadata so that when we send it out to all these channels, it's doing the right thing. When I say doing the right thing, it means, if I'm on Netflix, it's going to give me recommendations that I actually want to watch. If I'm on a website, it's going to cross-sell and upsell and show me the image of the kind of thing that I, definitely want to buy. And it's going to even personalize. If I get a direct piece of mail, in the post, it's going to give me something that actually is personalized, maybe to my buying history. Even if it's just a flyer, it's going to know that I like a particular type of product. So DAM provides that image, that metadata, and then these intelligent technologies that manage the output for these channels are going to be able to be smarter. So here's an example of an asset. And what I would call the traditional metadata around the asset would be, this is salad and it has spinach in it and it has acorn squash and it has feta and pumpkin seeds and all of these delicious things. But when it comes to the future, when it comes to what I like to call DAM 2.0 or DAM 3.0, depending on how many dams you have had or how many DAM projects you have undertaken, it's more than just having this collection of files plus its metadata. This is the traditional definition of DAM. I believe it's about creating value. So we're trying to create value and more valuable assets by integrating them and by using them more intelligently. So making sure that DAM isn't just this repository of images with its metadata, but we're actually using it as a service. So I'm going to talk about Headless DAM. And I know that I'm sure you've had sessions on Headless CMS. You've talked a lot about Headless CMS, but now we talk a lot about Headless DAM. It's gotten into our world as well. So this is about intelligent assets, high value assets with very rich metadata that are more easily personalized and targeted. So let me show you some examples. So if I take this same picture of salad, here's my traditional metadata that probably 10 or 15 years ago I would have said this is good metadata. But these days it's more about who is this for. So it's not just what is this picture about, but the who, the when, and the how am I going to use this image. So this is particularly wonderful for vegetarians, for people who have bought salad before, for people who like organic products during squash season when spinach is maybe on sale, and maybe after the holidays when everyone has eaten too much, we want more salads, right? So this is metadata that's about use and targeting and marketing, and it's about making this asset much higher value than just the traditional good old list of ingredients. So Headless DAM, we talk a bit about Headless DAM. So when we talk about Headless CMS, we often say, it's about making the content available not just to web pages or for web pages, but things like apps and our phones and all these different applications that might need content that we're ostensibly creating for the web. We're now creating it for a whole bunch of different online applications and experiences. It's the same thing with DAM. So today, digital asset management systems aren't just about having an interface where maybe a marketer goes and they type in, I want the picture of the salad, and then they get that picture of the salad and then they download it and maybe they insert it into a brochure or they put it into the web content management system. It's much more about making what I call a services layer available to all these potential downstream applications. So web CMS might be one, and I've just put some industry examples in here. So let's say you're a news media site and you want to publish, the latest image. The DAM should be available specifically so that web CMS can kind of go in and really pull out, what it needs, that latest image. If you're a consumer products company, so I was choose Arla as an example. You all surely know Arla with their skier and their yogurts and everything. If they have a product page on a website, they want to go and they want to get the latest image of that product. They want to make sure they're not using an outdated pack shot or an outdated piece of marketing material. So this becomes the authoritative source of images, and it's available as a service. It's headless for all of these downstream applications. I see we've got questions coming in. Giannis, should I look at those now or should I wait? What do you recommend?
I think we can take this now.
Okay.
Yeah, just type if other people have questions too, and I think this.
Yes. Great question from Hillary. I see. Yes. So I think you're absolutely right, Hillary. So Hillary says, I would imagine that the audience's conditions and use cases for a single image could be almost infinite. How do you make sure this list is both useful and also practical? As you probably know, one of the most common ways to plan is, of course, I know Hillary knows, but everybody else on the call, of course, is to write these sort of use case scenarios to determine all the ways that an image might be used. I think the important point that you make is that it is infinite, and so the important thing is to make the asset as intelligent as possible to future-proof it as much as possible, so that if a new app comes in and maybe there's an app developer who's developed something new, you don't have to change the DAM. You don't have to change the image itself. Maybe you need to add some more metadata, but I think the important thing is you don't necessarily need a list of everything and every way it might get used, but you need to think about the metadata in terms of target audience, in terms of channel, so that it's as flexible as possible. You're always going to have to
go back to that salad picture with the use cases for 1 sec.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Oh, there it is. Yep. Oh, come on. Oh gosh, too many arrows. Sorry. There we go. Okay.
So like one of your systems that a DAM needs to talk to jumped out at me because it's the AMS, the Association Management System, because that's mostly the clients that I deal with. What if it was food, something association where they would want to use an image like this as sort of a mouth-watering, gorgeous image for membership purposes, but you didn't label it as that because it wasn't in the person's mind when they tagged it.
Yeah.
If you didn't already tag it, how would you know it was there? How could you look it up in the DAM? Because you wouldn't be looking up salad and you wouldn't be looking up organic product shoppers.
Yeah, that's a tough scenario. I think in that case, it's going to become a discovery process, I would say, where you don't necessarily know what image you want to use, or you don't know that you're looking for a salad. It's one of those you don't know what you don't know scenario. So I think one of the things about DAM interfaces is that they're meant, if you are a marketer or you're trying to promote things but you don't know what you want to use, you can at least go and you can browse and you can be inspired by what comes up when you sort of click through the actual navigation and things like that. I don't think you're going to be able to solve that problem dynamically unless other people think you might be able to. I'd be open to that.
Yeah.
But I think it's more of a matter of like actually going to the DAM and browsing around and being inspired, I would say.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. Let's see, just a few more slides. This slide I could talk about for an hour, but I think one of the things that I wanted to put this in here so you could all kind of have as a takeaway. I think this is the most important slide I created in the last year, and it's meant to show DAM's place in the larger marketing technology ecosystem and what is often a marketing content hub. So rather than just having an interface or a service that is DAM, it's often an aggregation of not just images, but digital rights information, product information that's specifically about product specifications, for example, and then being able to manage campaigns and projects or creative projects that involve product info, digital assets, and rights in some sort of marketing and brand portal. And this is what I would say the lion's share of large companies that spend a lot on marketing and advertising are building today or working towards building. So DAM by itself is not enough. It's much more about the integration and the connectivity and bringing these things together in what is ideally a marketing dashboard. So vendors will sell this as a content hub. This is where, so I know we have some Stebo people on the call, where you think about the strength when you're a vendor that has a lot of strength in PIM, as you do, being able to integrate with DAM technology and with data is really vital in terms of helping people do their job more efficiently and to have all that in a single interface. So a lot of these interfaces are aggregators, or I should say a lot of these technologies are aggregators of what is largely databases or legacy systems that have very poor user experiences, if any user experience. Like no one wants to really touch the ERP. No one really wants to touch, some of these things on the left side. But then, they still are supplying very important content. Even as a marketer, I might need, or as a content person, I might need. So usually this more elegant and usable interface that a content person or a marketing person would use is a dashboard that aggregates and then allows this multi-channel publishing and this cycle of analysis. So I ended up creating this with some consultants on a couple projects, and it's proven very, very useful as like a signpost and a guide for what people are working towards. So I thought I'd just show a few interesting DAM features that a lot of people are using today. So on the first slide, I mentioned how a lot of people just can't find what they're looking for, but then sometimes they find something and then they're not quite sure how to use it. And a lot of times, one of the most common scenarios is just being able to like take a crop of something and just be able to take a snippet of it so that you can create a variant or a different kind of advertisement. So this is just showing in a browser, without having to open Photoshop, without having to have a license for some kind of graphic program. You can convert aspect ratio and DPI and size, et cetera, and without having to bother a designer either, and just kind of get it done quick. I have a few videos too that you won't be able to hear the sound, unfortunately, but you'll at least be able to see a little bit of how some of these things work. So product companies are using DAM a lot to do 3D and package design, and this is a very common use case now, to be able to look at an image and rotate it and be able to get more of the real experience. So this is sometimes called a digital twin. Some of you might know that term, where you have a full representation or a full replica of what the product would look like in the real world in 3D, and sort of rotating things around, etc. Oh, that's playing the same video again. All right, here's another video that this is from Sitecore. I picked Sitecore ones because I had them, and even though they're mostly in San Francisco, I still think of them as a Danish company. So what you'll see now is a video transcription, and if you could hear it, it's basically this woman is talking. She's talking about how she likes Coke, and what it does is it automatically transcribes what's on the right hand, what's in the video. It gives you the text, and that allows you to actually search within the video for what she's saying. And as we create so much more video today, and we create so much more media today, these sorts of things are, of course, really useful, because the text that's spoken in the video becomes metadata that is searchable. And that's an extremely useful thing for people, especially when you're creating lots of very short advertisements, lots of 30-second spots or 20-second spots, just like this one. And you can even click on one of these, and it takes you right to that point in the video. So it's almost like another layer of search. We search for things, and we kind of click, and you have a file. Okay, that's my result. But in this case, you could search, you could find the file, but then you can even click in and get to that point in the file, which is super useful if you're managing media. So this is just another view of a sort of modern DAM today. This is one that I set up myself for the students at King's College. So every student that's getting their master's degree in DAM, they get an account. And last semester, before, I shouldn't say last semester, but last year, before the pandemic hit in the spring, they had an assignment to go out and take pictures of London. And we put the students in groups, and then they had to go out and take pictures of a particular borough. So London has, I forget exactly how many boroughs, 27 or something like that. So they each got assigned to go and take pictures, and then they had to categorize, within their borough. We did sub groups and basically taught them how to develop taxonomy. So this is a super simple DAM, and yet a business can do so much in terms of efficiency just by centralizing and just by categorizing. So I made up these categories, which was, if you could see the Thames, if it was raining, the parks, nighttime, iconic buildings, hipster London, that got 618 assets. That was a good category. But you get the idea here. Even simple, straightforward centralization of photos saves that 20% of time that most people are losing. And so just a couple more slides, and then I'll be happy to take a few more questions. I always like to say it's not just about you finding the images, it's about the systems finding images today. As our marketing systems get more intelligent, I know you talk a lot about, when I think about way back to the original days of Yannis's conference, and we mostly just talked about web CMS, and now of course the topics are so much broader and so much more diverse, and so many of the members of these groups work in so many different domains. And I think that all of your domains probably need images and media in some way. And the important thing is not just having a system that we can go to, but having a service that all of our channels can access. And so all of these channels that come from my other graphic, DAM is really what's providing those enriched assets so that they can be shared, linked to, otherwise distributed. And it can be super simple. Like a DAM might just generate a URL, but it could also be much more complex, where it's publishing very richly tagged assets. And everybody needs an approach to this, and everybody needs a strategy around how these things should be managed. And sometimes it's very simple, and sometimes it's complex. It really depends on what your needs are on the downstream channels. And one of the things that's also really helpful with these systems that I see nowadays is that they convert and they transform. And so people and organizations and companies, they've spent a lot of time saying, oh, I need an MP4 version. Oh, I made this 4K video, and now I need a version for television. I need a version for the web, and I need a version for the app, and all this stuff. And they're doing all that manually, whereas the DAM can do that dynamically. And you could even have it do it on the fly, where you detect, okay, the person is hitting this particular piece with their phone. So we want to make sure that we push something in the right resolution or the right language, depending on where they're located, etc. So these sorts of decisions on the fly are what DAM can help, facilitate without a lot of extra human power having to do it manually. Okay, just a summary. DAM is still at the core what it's always been, which is a repository with metadata, but it's evolving into a much more major player in the MarTech ecosystem. I'm really happy now that I often hear chief marketing officers talking about digital asset management and the importance of it. So that's exciting. It's taken a long time. DAM 2.0, I like to say it requires metadata, but it's not just what the asset is about, but how it should be used and targeted. Findability of assets is as much a people requirement as it is a system requirement. So making sure the systems can find as well. And as a result, DAM systems are now also headless, or DAM as a service, making media available to all of these downstream systems. And I see as well that DAM is applied in an increasingly broad way across many different use cases. I'm working on a white paper right now that's going to be published next month, which is about unconventional use cases of DAM. And this is the last example I'll share. The Danish police service actually is one of the case studies in this white paper that I'm writing. They specifically use a DAM for their camera footage and their surveillance and everything that they do with crime detection and crime tracking. They keep that media in a DAM system. So even though we might think of DAM as really just for marketing or providing images for sales and e-commerce, etc., it's being increasingly used in these very unconventional ways, like tracking crime videos. So media is everywhere. It's growing. It's constantly being created by companies, and so DAM has become not a luxury, but really an imperative to manage and be able to find all that. And
great,
that's it.
Theresa. Yay! Thank you. We still have a few minutes left. We made it. Any questions, reflections? I would just say thank you very much for taking us through, the condensed version of 10 years of learning and a marketplace that's far from settled and still, rapid innovation happening.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I have a question, Bernd here. Hi, Theresa.
Hi.
Good to see you again. Do you know of any capability of a DAM to crawl websites and find outdated versions of images? So the use case would be that you don't have a full integration, but somebody downstream is using an image from your DAM, and then you upgrade the version and don't want the old versions going around in the web.
Not if there wasn't already an integration with the DAM. So I've seen a lot of where the integration between the web CMS and the DAM already exists. I have seen the DAM essentially, ping the website and make sure that all the images are up to date. But that's only if that initial link was already there. I don't think you could just, you come in with a DAM later and then try to compare it with all the images in the CMS. I've never seen that. Never seen that happen. So it works very well though if you set up the web templates with that integration to begin with, because then they're usually checking against each other on a regular basis to make sure that the most recent images are always there.
Yeah, or you just link to the CDN of the DAM and then always get the most recent version. So that's easy.
Oftentimes it's often held in a cache. So sometimes you have the CMS and you have an image picker like in the CMS, and it's pulling it's basically bringing up the most recent images from the DAM. You pick, and then it uses the image on the website, and that version of the image is usually stored in the cache. And then there's a scenario where, if you want to hit it in real time, that's fine, but that's obviously going to slow down your page a bit.
So we have a couple of questions in here. Why don't we start with the one that Jeff asked, if you can see that, Theresa, and then some of the others are a little bit more system specific. So these are, I think, big questions that you could also, similar to that popular slide, talk about for hours. But what are the biggest barriers in your take?
Yeah, I think the biggest barriers I see are governance and ownership. I see lots of dams being purchased and being put in place, but in terms of actually connecting it, there's not a MarTech governance group usually on top of all these technologies. It's like there's the group that's running the social media channels, and there's the group that's running the dam, and that might not even be a group. It might be just marketers kind of using the system. And there might be different sort of pockets of brand managers, and yet the connectivity needs a plan. It needs somebody kind of sitting on top of all that to really make it feasible, and that's just not there. So that's really the biggest barrier I see. And data that isn't clean, dirty data.
Yeah. And then in the last 2 minutes, there's a couple of questions in here which are about marketplace. Peter Pallas, I think, kicked it off with asking if you expect that DAM and Headless CMS and PIM might converge into a new kind of suite.
Yes, absolutely. I think that's
a quick answer.
Yeah, they're definitely converging, just to different degrees of different vendors, and I think it depends on the strength of the vendor. Most DAM vendors now have a PIM component. There's PIM vendors that are going into the DAM space by acquiring a DAM vendor, and I see CMS vendors saying they do DAM, even though it's like a DAM light, or I call it diet DAM. It's not a full-featured DAM, but so yeah, it's definitely converging, and I see vendors at different levels of success in that regard.
And then perhaps an equal quick take on your vision on the DAM market, where it's going, which features are increasing in importance, or any innovative disruptors.
Yeah, I don't think, unfortunately, maybe I'm just scarred, but I don't find it to be a terribly exciting market right now. I think the innovation is not happening like with the tools themselves. I think the innovation is happening in the connective tissue, and how we're connecting things, and how we're using the data and the conversations that are happening as a result of analytics and as a result of what we're learning about our customers. So I don't.
Could another take on that answer be that innovation is happening on the customer side more so than on the vendor side?
I think so, yes, because it's the companies that buy these tools and connect them and make them happen that that are really driving that.
All of
I agree.
That.
Yeah.
And then I think we can do really quickly. Metadata on assets are less and less considered by the human eye.
Maybe less considered by the human. So I think that question might be about AI, searching for images of salad, not reading. I'm not sure I completely understand the question, but I think that I'm seeing, if this is the right answer, I'm seeing a lot more auto tagging of assets as well. But it's very literal. It is the salad. It's not necessarily going to be able to correlate the salad to the sale that you're about to have, or the season and all that stuff. It's getting there, but it still requires a lot of human correction and intervention, I think.
All right, Theresa. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks for letting us quiz you here the last 5 minutes, shooting a little bit.
Pleasure. Always fun. Thanks everybody for coming. Just send me an email if you have any more questions.
I'll share the details with your email as well, and the recording, and let's keep the conversation going so that we can make 2021 a good one. Thank you once again, Theresa.
Thanks, Jonas. Cheers.